Welcome back, everybody. Sarcasm speaks. Chad and Bob here. We get some new news, right? I always hesitate to call it breaking because we're not live. But some recent news in the sports betting world that may not bode well for the future of legal sports betting. Um, have you listened to Sammy P's latest
No, dude.
podcast?
So I literally just went on Twitter to get the and I got the notification to download it,
Yeah,
and I just saw that they discussed it yesterday.
yeah.
Um, so I haven't listened to his podcast. I did see that some of the states were going to try to add a surcharge to winning wagers to help cover the taxes.
Yeah, so the states aren't adding it. DraftKings is adding it. So
Oh,
the
okay.
gist,
I also only really breezed over what because
yeah,
Chicken Dinner posted something 51 minutes ago,
yeah.
and I really only breezed over it.
So the Cliff Notes is a few states increased their taxes, right? So for example, Illinois had an original tax on DraftKings at 15%. Now, I don't know if this is specific to DraftKings or if it's to all books or if it's just to major books. Because in on the I haven't finished Sammy P's newest episode, but um he made mention that only the larger books are now going to have to pay more money. So again, we did this whole thing like the tax on it when all the states made it legal. I forget what Massachusetts is. It was like 22% or something like that. Um, which is like middle to high, right? Like I think Pennsylvania was like 40%
New
or
York's
something.
50.
Yeah, New York. So Illinois was 15%.
Yeah,
They
it's lower.
just
15's
passed
lower.
they just passed a regulation starting or a law, I suppose, um, January 1st that now sports betting will be taxed at 40%.
So
So they
I do think it's a graduated scale. So I don't think it's 40% period. I think it's up to
right, right.
40%. But it looks like they may have hit I haven't read it or listened to it. Sounds like they may have just hit DraftKings themselves with 40.
Yeah. Yeah. So DraftKings gets hit with a 40% tax. So what does DraftKings turn around and do? They're now going to tax on the winnings, right? So what Sammy P had gone into in his episode was they already tax you on the losses, right? The book itself, right? And that's the juice, that's the vig, right? So that's the argument that he made. They're already taxing you just to place a bet, right? Because standard standard juice on major sports is minus 110, right? So you already have to pay the extra 10 cents just to place a bet, right? Now they're going to tax you on the winnings, right? So that's his whole argument is it's already hard enough to beat the house, but now when you do beat them, they're going to take some money back. So what it does is it ends up fucking with the percentages, right? Because, and so someone replied to him and goes, oh, well, it just turns an even money bet into a minus 104. That's not a big deal. And his argument was like, well, first of all, yes, it is. And second of all, okay, by that logic, now a minus 110 bet becomes a minus 114. And he goes, good luck trying to beat those odds over the course of 5 or 6 months, right? So
I
everything
would say technically it should be even more than that.
No, it's 4%. So DraftKings they announced like a 3.6% or whatever it is. So it's
Oh,
effectively 4%, right? So we've done this before where we do the whole like American odds or convert to a percentage, right? So that expected win percentage is what you have to beat is how often you need to win in order to break even, right? So on a minus 110, if every single bet you make is minus 110, you need to win 52.5% of your bets to break even, right? So now, if the juice is minus 114, right? That's, I don't know math off the top of my head, but say that's probably 53.8%, right? So now you have to win at a 53.8% clip just to break even. Again, these are just break even numbers, right? So the fact of the matter is, over the course of time, right? 5, 6, 7, 8 months, 12 months, it's really hard to win more than 52.5% of the time, right? Like, again, we've talked about this ad nauseum. If you hit at 54%, 54% is like outrageous, right? And anything above that is almost like literally unbelievable, right? Not unbelievable in the sense of like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like, no, like I don't believe you, right? Like that, like the literal sense of the word unbelievable. Because it's really hard to do. So now by implementing tax on the winnings, right? Now those bets have now become less profitable, which means you need to win more to break even and continue to make a profit. So the DraftKings stock absolutely tanked after they came out and announced this. Um, there's 4 states in total. So it's Illinois, New York, Pennsylvania, and Vermont are the ones that implemented this winner's tax, right? If you want to call it that. And so DraftKings has responded by implementing this winner's tax, right? So sorry, those 4 states implemented increases in their take, basically, right? So effectively, what happened was all of these politicians who, I can't speak for other states, but I know in Massachusetts, were effectively like, oh no, we can't have sports betting. Oh no, it's so bad. Oh, sports betting's bad. You can't do this. And now all of a sudden they're like, hey, we're making a lot of money out of this. Like, wouldn't it be cool if we made even more money? Let's raise the taxes even more on this and let's get some more money, right? So it's like, again, I can't really speak to other states, but that's how it went in Massachusetts. So you have these other states, right? Again, New York, Pennsylvania, Vermont, and Illinois that raised their taxes. So now DraftKings is like, okay, we'll just pass that on to the end user, right? So now bettors get fucked, right, because of this. So it's not great, right? Because if it works out for DraftKings, then all the other books are going to do it.
Yeah, and then it won't be worth actually betting legally anymore.
Right. Right. So
Like they'll
good.
take a, I mean, it won't be 100. I mean, obviously, no one's ever going to be 100%. Like they're going to take a hit, but people are still going to throw in,
Right.
stupid parlays and shit. Because then they'll look at it like, oh, 4% off the top. I'll just add another leg.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? And I mean, I would I have to imagine that these politicians, if not the politicians, at least the sports books themselves. That's where my faith lies. My faith does not lie in the politicians. My faith lies in the sports books themselves. That they have to have some sort of algorithm, right? Because especially because like that's what they do, right? Is they deal with algorithms all the time. There has to be some sort of algorithm, right, that says, you know, at a 15%, just to use round numbers, right? Let's say 1 million people are on our app when it's the standard rate. And if we implement a 4% tax, then we might lose 30%, right? So now only 700,000 people use the app. But of that 700,000, with the increased percentage take, is it the same? Right? You know what I mean? So like from their bottom line standpoint, it's a it's a bigger slice of a smaller pie, right? So like if they do lose winners, they're taking a higher, I'm sorry, if they do lose users, right, they're taking a higher percent, right? So again, right, your standard, whatever the normal take is now out of 1 million people versus an extra 4% off the top for 700,000 people, right? Like, I don't know that math, but I feel like the books probably have accounted for that.
Well, they 1000% have. I'm actually trying to like, I'm trying to fucking find everything from painting. I don't know shit right now. I was trying to figure out like, what percent of like odds, create the break even, whatever. But what we're talking about here is actually really similar to one of the golf courses that I play. So, and this was like a topic in our bulletin board because a lot of people didn't play because of the price of this year. So we could normally get like 100 golfers at 185, which is 18,000. And I think we got close to 80 golfers at 225, which is 18. And I think we came close at 250 as well, which is 20,000. So I think because of that, like, because we usually got like full fields of 80 to 100.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this year they decided it was going to be fucking 290, but we only got 54 golfers. So that only comes out to 15 and a half or just over.
Yeah.
So it's the same. It's going to end up being like kind of the same idea, but this is coming down from the state, not the operator. Operator is just the middleman. This is literally how every business operates, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. The
the
business
state,
just passes on the
they
cost
just pass on the cost of the
to the end
customer.
user. Yeah.
Um, and they honestly they could have done that just by offering shittier lines, and people would have been none the wiser. But they did
Right.
it this way, and it made news, which was fucking stupid,
Right.
I think. But like, yeah, so I mean, even this, so in that event, they cost themselves between three, no, 2,500, between 2,500 and like 4,500 bucks just by trying to like strong arm the group. And like our guy even said it. He was like, "Oh, well, you think you can get 80 at this price?" He goes, "No." He goes, "We'll be lucky." He
Yeah.
goes, "We'd be lucky to get 70. I'm thinking 60, and we had 54."
Right.
So, I mean, it's ammo to go, but this is the thing. It's like it's ammo to go back on, but you can't reason with the state.
Right.
Like,
Right.
there's no like explaining this to them. They're gonna look at it like New York's gonna look at it like, what are you gonna do? Not operate in our state?
Right.
We put a 50% tax and you guys didn't say shit.
Right.
Like we make it 75%. No, that's probably the breaking point, but
Right. Right.
like New York does so much volume that it almost doesn't matter what the tax rate is up to a certain point.
Right.
There's just so many fucking people.
Right. So yeah, I mean, it definitely, like I said, it doesn't bode well for, well, I yet, right? Like, if it works or not, right? If it doesn't really work out and DraftKings kind of gets porked by this, then maybe the other books are like, ah, shit, maybe we can't do that, right? But if it's business as usual, look out, because all these other books are gonna just start doing the same thing. And then, like you
114.
said, it'll become almost not even worth it to use legal books anymore, which luckily you can
Shout
still
out
go to
mybookie.com.
mybookie.com and use the promo code Sarcasm Speaks to sign up to double your first deposit up to $1,000. So if you live in one of those states, uh, you know, maybe take us up on that MyBookie offer.
Yeah, so on a 4% tax, if it comes down to 114, which actually, yeah, it probably will stay 114 because I think it's technically 114.4. Um, your break even is 53.3%.
Wow, I was pretty close. I said 53.8. I was a 0.5% off.
So yeah, I mean, then your profitability on that. Oh shit, that would take some fucking algebra. My God. I don't even know how I would figure that out. Um, I guess I could send, well, you would send,
What are you looking for?
I would have to do, okay, I don't even think I can explain this in a non-retarded way. Um, no, I was looking at what this would require algebra, but I'd have to rewrite this fucking thing.
Using the cosine?
No, it would
No,
just be like some
that's
y equals
trig.
mx plus b shit. But oh no, what's that? Isn't that slope?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean it's just like I'd have to move it. Can I even still do this? Can I do algebra live? Wait, nope, I already started wrong. I put the wrong divisor.
Put the divisor in the basket.
So if the divide to get the divisor to the other, do I multiply? I think I multiply.
Yeah, I'm not really a help if I can't see.
I don't get why.
If
Fuck, that's
something is
not
on
gonna
the
be right.
bottom of a fraction, you multiply both sides by the bottom number, and that will wipe out the fraction on
Yeah,
one side.
that's not gonna do it for me.
Right? So if it's like 1 over 2x equals 4, you multiply both sides by 2. That'll be 1x equals 8. So x equals
No,
8.
that's not gonna get it done. No, because there's like an a plus b on the bottom of the fraction, and I kind of forget how to move that out
Oh.
of the fraction. Yeah, okay, I don't know how to do this off the top of my head.
You can ask ChatGPT.
Dude, I was never good at fucking algebra. Think I averaged about an H in the age group. So yeah, that's definitely outside my skill set.
What were you trying to look for? Like what
Okay, so
equivalence were you trying to draw?
so if you have so this is the equation. It's 114
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
100 plus 114
Okay. Oh, so you're trying to
equals.
find the percentage increase.
No, I was just gonna try to figure out. So I was without guessing random numbers and plug. So because that's how I would just do it. I would just plug random numbers into the equation.
Yeah.
Um, do you have paper? We're not doing this. I was gonna say it's because you do it's 114 because that's the new 110 with a 4% juice divided by 100 plus the line. So you've got 114 over parentheses 100 plus 114. And that equals 53.3. So what you would
Okay.
have to do is you would have to change. So I guess what the percent would become X because that's what we're looking for a new. I don't even know. See, this is the problem is I don't know algebra well enough and I haven't done it in
Yeah, I mean you have to know what
fuck
you're looking like there
how
has
many
to only be
years.
one variable.
Yeah, we're solving the percent. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's why I can't figure out because it's
You can't
two
have two
variables that would be
variables.
changing.
Yeah.
But you could plug 55 in the other side and then solve for the 114 because it's the same number. Or is that still too complicated? So if 114 becomes X because it's the same number, that doesn't work because it's two pieces of the equation.
Yeah. Yeah, the issue too is because it's 114 over 100 plus x. It's not 100x, right? It's not as simple as
Correct.
like,
Yeah, it's not 100 times X.
yeah.
It's in parentheses. So I that's what I was saying is I forget how to get the numbers out of the parentheses. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
I haven't done algebra 1 in 20 years. So
Yeah. Same. But
Anywho,
yeah. So what were you actually trying to figure out with that though? Like what the new percentage you'd have to cover to make a profit? Like what is the purpose of that equation?
it was going to be what percent do you need to earn like even a like moderately okay. I know this is very subjective at this point because obviously 54%,
Right.
but
Yeah. So if you
54% is
hit
nothing.
right, if you hit so okay, so I understand what you're saying now. So if you hit it 54%,
You might make like
what's the
10
margin?
bucks
Yeah, what's the margin?
on $100 bets.
Right.
So
Because 54% on a 52.5% on a 110 juice, right? 54% on a
is
110 juice
profitable.
is very good,
Yes.
right? You're making a so I guess the answer is you make a 0.8% profit, right? Because on a 52 on a if you cover it 54% and 52.5% is break even, then 1.5% is the profit, right? So
Okay. So then,
if you bet $100, you made $1.50, right? Like 1.5% is your
okay. So you need to hit an additional 0.08, which is what you just said.
right, right.
And
Which means you would now need to cover at almost you would need to win your bets at almost a 55%
yeah,
clip in order to
good
make
luck.
the same amount of money that you would prior to this increase.
And then all the guys that are used to hitting at 55%, which is exceptional,
Right,
they now need to hit at probably 57,
right.
which is
Borderline
that's
impossible.
like the upper limit of
Yeah.
what you can realistically hit
That's one of those like you can hit at 57% over like 4 months.
for a season.
Yeah.
Like you can do a
That's what I mean.
season.
Yeah. I did it in baseball that one year, right?
Yeah.
Like whatever year that was, 2021, 2020 or 2021. I think it was 21. Um, I crushed baseball that year. I have not sniffed anything close to that since.
Oh,
So,
even in the pick 'em, like people can hit at 60% for the first 6 weeks of the year.
right.
You've done it. Chris has done it. People
Well,
have
the
done it.
first year, I think I hit the entire season. The first year, I think I got 57 or 58%.
Yeah.
I
And
think it was
you,
57.
and
And then
the
the
thing
second
was,
year,
we were sitting there each and every week watching you. And it's like, oh my God, he is like, just like hitting like fucking crazy.
yeah,
All
yeah,
for it to wash out at the end of the year being 57.
right, right. And then I think the second year, I still did okay. I might have hit like 52 or 53. And then last year, I think I was 48%.
It was horrible last year.
I was not good
I was
last year.
so
So
bad
again,
last
so
year.
year one, right? Call it 58%. Year two, 53%. Last year, 48, right? Let's do some quick math. 58, 53, 48 divided by three. That's 53% average over the course of 3 years, right?
Yeah.
So there you have it, right at a break even pace, or what used to be a break even pace before DraftKings started implementing this tax. So yeah, and I mean, I think it's 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 interesting, right? Because it's always when we talk about Ian, right? Ian McMillan, shout out to him, the Ian Mac Bets on Instagram, friend of the show, now works for Sports Illustrated, by the way. Um, but he always talks about when he does the road to 272 bets, where he bets on every single football game of every single season. His only goal every year is to just be profitable, right? So with that, there's a little bit more leeway too, right? Because he could take a money line underdog that would hit. So theoretically, right, like he could hit 49% of his bets and still come away with a profit if he hits a few money line underdogs, which
Yeah.
he did 2 years ago, I think. I think he was just about even, like
It
on
might have
his
been
actual.
2021 because he had that. I still
He had
remember
the
that
Redskins
fucking the
over
Redskins
over the
Steelers.
Steelers. Yeah,
I
it was
still
like
remember that
plus
game.
650.
And they played it on like a fucking Wednesday or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, I
that
still
bet.
remember that game.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. What would you say is all? What'd you
I
say the
think it was
odds were?
plus 650.
No, I don't think it was that high. I think it was like 350. Because remember, plus 350 on an NFL line. That's a pretty bad underdog.
Yeah, yeah,
That's like 8 to 10 points, I
yeah.
think. Um, but yeah, right there, that's 3.5. One bet paid off 3.5 bets.
Right. So, um, yeah, I mean, that's why his thing is he just wants to be profitable, right?
Yep. Well,
So,
it's the I mean, that's the when you do this stuff, 272 bets, you know, in all likelihood, you're just going to end up being 50-50, which you lose money.
right,
So you just have to come in a little bit better. And because, like, he'd even tell you, I mean, so he's not a professional, he's a content creator, right?
right,
Like,
exactly.
so if he doesn't lose, it's good because he gets to write his articles, he gets to do his podcast, he gets to do his videos, and he's not losing any money personally.
Right.
Plus, why would anyone listen to you if you can't win?
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, the more bets you place, the more you're going to move back to 50-50,
right.
unless you kind of really know what you're doing and can really pick your spots. And that's like, I think Sammy P still does it. Like, he never reset his like records. Or usually he doesn't. When he posts his records, he usually keeps like a this year and an all time.
Right, right,
Because that's the thing is like you lose, 12 in a year. It's important to know because it means you can't pick games this year. Like you're fucking something up.
right, right.
But over time, it's like 12 games out of like 3 seasons is 816 games.
Yeah,
So it's like losing 12 of those is like kind of nothing.
it is nothing.
But when you lose the 12 in a row, it fucking sucks.
It does. So, for reference, I this year I could not pick a single bet in
Couldn't win a
golf.
game.
I could not win a single game in golf, right? So I think I have to go to Twitter for this one, but my record this year, I didn't post the results after the 3M Open because I think I lost all of them but one. But going into the 3M Open, so let's say I only hit one of them. So I this year in on PGA on the PGA Tour betting, I am 39 and 81 for minus 19 units. That is god awful.
Yeah, it's not great.
However, last year, 2023 PGA, I pulled this analysis from Action Network, but now that I look at it, I feel like it's a little bit off because it says that there was 319 bets. I don't know if I actually placed 319 bets on the PGA last year, but regardless, I
Last
was
year?
yeah,
Are you sure that's not like the last two? No, even that's got to be all time, dude. That's a lot of bets.
yeah, I know. It feels like a lot of bets, right? Hold on, let me redo this.
Yeah, try
So
try try
from
that again. Measure once, cut twice.
yeah. Yeah. Measure once, cut wherever I want, and don't measure again and just stick it
Yeah,
wherever
just
you
cut it
want.
and then cut it first and
Cut
then
it
measure
first,
it.
then measure it, right? Yeah. Yeah. That's usually how that works.
Yep. Yep.
So for the entire calendar year of what are we doing here? Yeah, it came
Figure it
back
out, will
again.
you?
Give it a fucking rest, huh?
God,
December 31,
clean it the fuck up.
2023. I'm trying not to fat finger this because I just fat fingered it and fucked it all up. PGA Tour from January 1st to December 31st. We'll call that PGA 23. Save. Yeah, that's what it's saying. So 319 bets. I went 82, 236, and one. However, I was plus 87 units because I was on a tear last year of hitting outrights and first round leaders. Right. So I'm down 19 units this year, but I was up 87 units last year. So between the 2 years, right, I'm up, 69 units. Nice. And I'm sure the law of averages, I'll suck again next year and bring that back down, right? Like I just had one really good year where last year I was hitting, I forget what it was, but I think it was in like a 6 or 8 week stretch. I think I hit 3 outrights and 2 first round leaders. Um, that was pretty hot. And then this year I just couldn't make a fucking pick to save my life. So
Do you consider just being better?
yeah, I've thought about it. I've tried.
And where has that gotten you?
To minus 19 units.
There we are.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's betting, right? It's just kind of back and forth. So um all right, let me see what else we got going on. Oh, actually, before we wrap things up, I thought this was interesting that I saw this on Roka News the other day. So um do you know who Khalid Sheikh Mohammed is?
No.
He is the alleged mastermind behind 9/11, right? So he's the guy that supposedly planned the whole thing and, got the guys to execute, right? So he was captured however many years ago. Um, and he's been in Guantanamo Bay, right? Prison. So last week, I think they made a plea deal with him where if he pled guilty to like all these charges, they would just give him like consecutive life sentences. So I'd spend like 1 million years in prison, right? In Guantanamo Bay. So they do the deal and to no one's surprise, everyone kind of loses their shit, right? They're like, you're gonna just put this guy in jail forever. Like he was up for the death penalty, right? Because technically in Guantanamo Bay, there's some loophole, right, where it's not the United States, right? It's in Cuba. So it's like there's weird things that go on and there's loopholes and you can still give the death penalty and all that shit. Because there's something else where like the Constitution doesn't apply, like the constitutional rights don't apply to prisoners in Guantanamo Bay for some odd reason. Again, maybe because it's not US soil. I don't know. I don't know the specifics truthfully. But they struck a deal with him, right? They were like, cool, you plead guilty, we won't kill you. Everyone absolutely loses their shit. So the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, steps in, who I don't know much about this guy, but from what I hear, like Dan Holloway talk about in Drinking Bros podcast, the guy's kind of a fucking loser, right? He's kind of just a cunt in general. He steps in and goes, nah, we're not doing that. So he put the kibosh on the plea deal, right? And he goes, it was something along the lines of he put out a statement, and it went something like, you know, this is my decision to make because this is my department, or at my discretion as the Secretary of Defense, and over this whatever thing. Like he went on this big long thing, and he basically was like, this is for me to decide, and I say no, you don't get your plea deal. Which again, I'm sure the guy's a fucking piece of shit, right? But that's pretty cool. We got to admit, right? Again, we give people their due when it is due, right? Like I'll shit on you when you do something stupid, but I'll tip my cap when you do something good. Um, that is pretty good, right? He literally just stood in there and was like, "No, fuck you guys, we're not doing this." Put him back on death row.
They kill the marathon bomber yet?
Uh, no, I don't think
Because I
so.
think people are pissed because I think he's gonna get out of it too.
Yeah, I think he's still alive. What's his name? Joe Cars.
Did you remember it was like there was something going on where it was like he wasn't gonna be eligible for the death penalty anymore? That was a while ago though.
Yeah. Oh shit, I always forgot. I always keep forget that he went to Cambridge Ringe and Latin. He was a Falcon. Um, yeah, he's incarcerated at ADX Florence, maximum security prison in Florence, Colorado.
Sounds remote.
Yeah. Uh, so he has not been killed yet, but he was sentenced to the death penalty.
Oh, so they did sentence him. Okay.
Um, his death sentence was vacated on appeal in July 2020, but the US Supreme Court, my guys, reversed that decision in March 2022. Dude, I'm telling you, the fucking Supreme Court is the best, right? Like they are the the premier branch of the United States government. They really are, right? Like they pass with flying colors. They're incredible. They reversed that decision in March 2022. So as of 2024, he's being held on death row at a federal supermax prison in Colorado.
All right. Good. Glad.
Shout out to the Supreme Court and shout out to Lloyd Austin, I guess, too,
For
for
not
stepping
being a
in.
bitch.
Yeah, for not being a bitch, being like, dude, this guy orchestrated the death of 3,000 American civilians on American soil. Like, no, fuck you. You're not gonna just gonna sit in jail for the rest of your life. You're gonna die.
Funny too, because being in that position, he could have been like such a pussy about it,
Oh
and he
yeah,
didn't. So I guess
yeah.
credit to him. Credit to him for now. For this
For
one
now,
action, because I know
for this,
nothing else
yeah,
about this guy.
right, exactly, agreed. So, uh, all that said, you want to wrap this up?
We can wrap this up.
All right.
So, uh, I think part of my one of my things going into the Olympics, I was talking about how like I don't know who anyone is, I don't know who any of these people are, like da 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 whatever. And I think I mentioned the woman in the it's 400 hurdles. I forgot like kind of what she was doing.
Yeah.
Um, so the 400 hurdles, and she's an American, and the guy I play golf with is like tuned into track and field, like specifically the running events, and he told me, he goes, she's gonna break every fucking record. Like it's not gonna be particularly close too. Well, so I just went to her Wikipedia. She did win the gold in the 400-meter hurdle. Oh wait, hold on. Wikipedia's behind. No, she won gold. Yeah, glides to 400-meter final with ease. So I don't think she broke the world record like I was told she would, but I did go to her Wikipedia, and she is the first track athlete to break 4 world records in the same event,
Jesus.
setting 4 world records during 13 months.
What are the records?
Uh, no, so remember, First track athlete to break 4 world records in the same event. So it's just the 400-meter hurdles.
Okay, yeah, because I was gonna say, how do you break this? How do you break multiple records in the sport? But she broke her own record, right?
She
Like
broke her own record.
she said it the first time and then broke it three subsequent times.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I was a little confused on that. I was like, how do you break four
Yes.
records in the same event?
And she did it he did it in 13 months, which I guess if you're hot, you're hot. But
Right. Yeah.
um so yeah, she set the world record most recently, June 30th at the US Olympic trials. So Sydney McLaughlin Lavroni, I don't know how I'm pronouncing that, but yeah, credit to her. 24 years old, two-time gold medalist in the Olympics in the 400-meter hurdles. So
Nice.
I guess if no one else is going to cover the Olympians, I guess I can. But only when someone, tells me ahead of time.
Yeah.
But I did see a video of her in like her prelims or whatever. You want to talk about like, so I know no one tries in the prelims, like especially when you like are good,
Right.
but you want to talk about not trying and blowing everybody away. It was comical.
Wow.
Like how much she just didn't try and how much fucking faster she was than everybody else.
That's pretty funny. So shout out to her.
Yeah, and credit to her for actually delivering, especially like if, a random guy is going to tell me on a golf course, she's going to win everything.
Yeah.
Well, I think she only runs the 400-meter hurdles and the 400-meter hurdle relay. Do they do a hurdle relay? They might do a hurdle relay. I don't
I
really
don't
know.
know.
I'm not in it enough.
Yeah, I have
And I'm
no
definitely
idea.
not in it in the 400, and I'm definitely not in it in the 400 hurdles, and I'm definitely not in it for the women's 400 hurdles.
Yeah. I've watched um probably about a cumulative 25 minutes of Olympics coverage and all 25 live, right? Being live. I have seen clips of stuff on Twitter. Um, but I've seen about a cumulative of 25 minutes of live Olympics coverage, and all 25 minutes of those was the golf event on Sunday.
Yeah, that's all I've actually watched
Yeah.
live too.
Yeah. I only watched Sunday of the golf.
Yep, same here.
And I caught like maybe a couple holes early in the day, and then I saw the last six holes. Like I think I turned it on when Scotty was on 16 or 17, or when I came back to it, I should say. Um, and he was about to get the lead or took the lead because John Rahm shit himself. And it was just, you know, yeah, that's all I've seen for live Olympics coverage. Again, I've seen clips of stuff on Twitter, so I can't pretend like, oh, I didn't even know the Olympics were going on. Listen, I'm not going to be that insufferable, right, about it. Like, I've seen the highlights, um, but I haven't sat down and actually watched anything other than the end of the last round of golf, which on a Sunday afternoon is like what I would normally do anyway. So there's really it was no different for me.
Yeah, no, same thing.
Yeah.
Never watched a second. I don't care. I mean, someone told me today that um someone told me today that the basketball team's back to kicking the shit out of everybody, which I guess is okay. I
I mean,
mean,
as they
like you're
should.
you're supposed to. Like this was my criticism of the women in the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're supposed to win. Like you're supposed to beat everybody. So when you
Right.
don't, yeah, well, you're gonna get criticized. Sorry.
Right. Right. When
Don't
you're
play.
that heavy of a favorite
Yeah.
and you barely win or you lose,
Here's the
like,
thing: when you bow out in the quarters, like embarrassing fashion,
yeah.
which I don't
Yeah.
know how they're doing either, the women.
I don't know either. The men didn't even make it.
Yeah, I mean that's to be expected though.
Yeah.
I actually prefer when the men don't make it Because then it's like this thing, like people like, oh my God, they beat Ghana. Like they could maybe go on a run. It's like just fucking stop.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Looks like they won the semis, so they play in Brazil in the final on the 10th. When the fuck is that? Saturday.
Saturday. Okay. Um, yeah, I saw a meme on Twitter where it was just like a screenshot of something and it said, "You mean to tell me in a country of 350 million people, we can't field a competitive soccer team of 12 guys? Like we can't make it on the international stage. We can't find 12 guys that are good at soccer."
So here in that immediately like kind of settles it. It just shows you how bad all of these soccer programs are because it's
Yeah.
not for lack of bodies.
Right.
It's not for lack of coaches. They truthfully just cannot fucking figure it out.
Yeah. I think again, so I haven't followed men's soccer in at least a decade, right? Like I was big into, the World Cup and all that stuff in like the early mid 2000s. Um but probably from '06 on, I would say, because '06 was the World Cup in, was it Germany? Or did Germany just win that year? Because 2010 was South Africa.
6 Italy won. They
'06
beat
was Italy.
France.
Okay. That's right.
Zidane.
That was Zidane. That was the Zidane year. Right, 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 right.
And then
Um,
2010 was David Villa in fucking Spain because I still remember when
oh no, no, I meant like, was it in Germany?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know where it was in '06, but I know in 10 it was in South Africa. Um, and then 14 it was in Brazil, I think.
It was in Brazil when fucking Germany pounded them.
Was
No
it?
way. That stadium would have that stadium would have collapsed
No, see, I get all kinds of mixed up. No, it wasn't, because
because the
Brazil
16
Brazil
Olympics
had
were
the
in Brazil
Olympics. That's right. That's right. That's
and they
right.
actually won that one, I think.
Yes, I believe they
I
did.
think Neymar won in PKs. This is amazing for a guy who doesn't watch soccer. I can pretty much recount this stuff.
Autism is a hell of
Yeah,
a
my
fucking
autism's on
superpower.
display again. I also need to redact my final. I need to redact my final thought. Women's 400-meter hurdles hasn't happened yet. The headline got me. The one that
Ah,
says where she cruises to 400-meter final. That
yeah.
was to get into the final, not winning the final.
All
So
right.
yeah,
Ah,
my autism showed up again where I can't fucking
so
get
my
it right.
autism struck gold. It was 2006 was in Germany.
Yeah,
So Italy won, but the actual event was in Germany. Um, 2010 was South Africa. 2014 was Brazil. Let's go.
wow, I can't believe that stadium like stood.
Yeah.
Do you remember that game?
2018 was in Russia. And then 2022 was in Qatar. I remember that one because everyone was losing their
Yeah.
shit because it
Do
was
you do
the
you remember that Germany Brazil game? That final? Was it the
vaguely.
final or was it the
Yeah.
semi? Shit. Now I'm not sure. Look uh
In 2016,
2016 was
2014, 2014, sorry.
sorry,
2016 was
14.
the Olympics.
14. It was either the final, it was Germany versus Brazil. It was either the final or the semis. I'm not sure which one it was, but Germany beat the shit
It was the semis because Germany beat Argentina
in
in
the
the
final.
final. Yeah. And
They
then
beat the absolute shit out of
the
Brazil.
Netherlands beat Brazil in the consolation game. So
Well,
the
yeah, I
net
mean they got embarrassed so bad in that semifinal game. It was like 4-0 fucking like 8 minutes into the game or something.
yeah.
That's exaggeration, but like I remember the game was on at the gym. I lived 20 minutes away at the time.
7-1. Germany won 7-1.
It was like so I think it was like 4-0 by the time I got home in those 20 minutes.
Yeah. And then Brazil just gave up. because in the third
Oh
place
yeah,
game they lost to the Netherlands 3-0.
yeah. You want? I like. I'll actually give them credit. Like in your home country,
Yeah,
in a tournament where you maybe weren't favored, they may have been like a betting favorite, but like
yeah.
Germany was really good that year, and like Argentina can always play, and the Netherlands kind of went on a run. I was probably betting on all this shit. That's probably why I remember.
I
But
know I was.
and then to get to the semis, to play Germany, and to get your fucking shit pushed in,
Yeah,
like they got absolutely rocked, and they did not know what hit them.
yeah.
I would love to see timestamps on those goals too, because it happened so fast.
Let me see if I can go back real quick.
Like unbelievable. Like I left 11, 23, 24, 26, 29. It was 5-0 by the 29th minute.
Yeah.
And they scored. So they scored fast at 11, and then they scored 4 in 6 minutes of game time.
Wow.
And like
That's
I said, the game started when I was at the gym. By the time I got home, it was fucking. So it wasn't even 4-0. It was 5-0 by the time I got home.
yeah. I
Couldn't have
wonder the
happened to a
last
worse country.
time a host country won the World Cup.
Uh,
I don't know the answer to that.
well, because I don't know who won 2006, so 2002. I feel like that was in like Korea. They definitely didn't win.
Yeah, it was in Korea.
98
You
was
just
here,
fucking
wasn't it?
nailed it. Um,
No,
no,
94
98,
was here.
98 was in France.
Don't think
94
France.
was here.
Yeah, 'cause the Colombian guy got shot.
So it would have had to have been France, would have been the last time. They did.
98.
They won. France
98.
won in 98 as the host country.
Yeah, but I don't think they really know how to
They
celebrate.
beat Brazil.
I'll never. So that's the other thing is like I'll never be unhappy when Brazil loses a soccer match.
How many times have they won the World Cup? I feel like, yeah, they haven't won since 2002. So they have won it 6 times, right? Brazil's won 6 World Cups, but they're in 58, 62, 70, 94, and 2002. They haven't won since 2000. They're the Yankees, right? Like, because everyone is always like, oh, the Yankees, they're so great. They're awesome. Dude, the Yankees haven't won a World Series in like fucking 15 years. Right? Like everyone's always like, oh,
Yeah.
Brazil, well, soccer, Brazil. Dude, they haven't won a World Cup in 22 years.
Yeah.
Like they're the same thing. Brazil is the Yankees of soccer.
Yep. And it's like they can't lose enough for me.
Yeah. Just like the
Same with the
Yankees.
Yankees
So yeah.
and Ohio State, but that's a weird one for me. I just don't like Ohio State for some reason.
That was Michigan for me for a long time. Mostly because I just don't like Jim Harbaugh. He's
Yeah,
just
I mean,
he's just a
so
whiny little bitch. So now that he's not there, I don't know. I guess I could care less about
what's the thing? I
Michigan.
I nothing Michigan.
My hatred
Ohio
towards
State bothers
Michigan
me for
was
some
was
reason.
my hatred towards Michigan was a proxy for Jim Harbaugh hatred,
My hatred
right?
towards Michigan was when I used to fucking bet on them and they would absolutely fucking suck. And then Fade Michigan was good for like 3 games and then it fucking turned on us.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I guess now by default, I have to hate the Chargers, which is unfortunate because they were a fun team to root for because you knew they were always going to blow it in the end. But like they just
Did
had,
you listen to Ian Mac's season preview?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
called them the Falcons of the
Yeah.
AFC.
They just had so much talent. I mean, not so much anymore. Now the team, like, they
They
basically
stripped the
have,
team down.
yeah, they've done almost a complete overhaul on the team. But, um, up until last year, like they were always just so talented. Like they had so much talent and they just could never fucking put it together. It's because they always had a retarded coach. Like
Yeah.
they could never just figure out having a
Well,
good coach.
every coach that they've had, and I'd have to like fact check by going back, but even like Marty Schottenheimer and Norv Turner, they were
Yeah.
just perpetual losers.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Brandon Staley. I think before him it was Anthony Lynn. Was there anyone between them?
No, but there was someone before. Obviously, there was someone before Anthony Lynn. I don't know who that was.
Yeah, some bum, right?
Has to be
Uh
obviously because they fucking sucked.
Mike McCoy.
Yeah, he sucked.
He sucked. Then before him it was Norv Turner and Marty Schottenheimer. And then Mike
Losers, dude.
Riley was in 99, June Jones, Kevin Gilbride. I like
They literally cannot select a coach.
no. It's unfortunate
Because the other thing with
because
Schottenheimer is like he had like the most postseason losses of anyone. He had like 18 losses, which you look at it and it's like, wow, he made the playoffs 18 times. And so he lost every single
lost
year.
every single year. Yeah. Yeah. When did they have Fouts? Was that the 80s or the 90s?
Mm, could be both. Probably late
Late
80s.
80s into the 90s. Yeah.
Then we got steamrolled in a Super Bowl one time by the Niners. I think they fucking killed them too. That was pro. No, that might have been Stan Humph. No, Stan Humphreys. No, something Humphreys.
Have the Chargers ever won a Super Bowl?
No,
No, yeah, I was going to say, I don't think so. The closest they probably ever came was with Rivers in the was it
no. They. I'm
the
telling
oh
you.
06 AFC Championship game when we
Hold
crushed them.
on. The, Stan Humphreys was he the quarterback in that game? Yeah. They lost 49-26 to the 49ers.
Jeez.
Super Bowl 29. What year was that? Played in. Come on, give me a fucking date. Oh, 95. That's more recent than I thought. The 94 season.
Yeah. Okay.
Natron Means. I think that's Natron Means.
Yeah, it's the only time they went to the Super Bowl was 1994.
Yep. And they got it fucking put to them pretty good.
Yeah. Huh. Well, yeah, I guess now I have to hate the
Oh my
Chargers.
God. The 49ers were an 18.5 point favorite
Oh God. In the Super Bowl?
in the Super Bowl.
Holy shit.
And they covered.
That's wild. 94, that would have been the other guy, Steve Young, right?
Yep. Steve Young.
Yeah, the other guy. People forget. All right. Well, yeah, that was a hell of a tangent off a final
Yeah.
thought. That was a fun rabbit hole though. To put our autism to test.
Yeah, seriously, we covered it all. We somehow I was speaking about a woman who won the gold medal, which she didn't yet.
Yeah.
And we ended up in World Cup and San Diego Chargers
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
Pretty good, dude.
And we nailed the locations of the World Cup.
Well, you did, but I
Yeah.
actually I hate Korea.
Yeah. Yeah. You did. You hit Korea in '02.
Again, like I was watching that.
Yeah. Oh man. Um, well, my final thought is I went back to rewatch The Terminal List on Amazon Prime, which is a TV show about a book that Jack Carr wrote. I read the book a while ago. I use that term loosely. I listened to the audiobook years ago, like when it first came out. I think Jack Carr just released his seventh book in the series um, for James Reese. But it's one of those like when I've watched it when the show came out, which I think was in 21 or 22. They've had a big gap in between season 1 and 2 because of the writer's strike. Of COVID and the writer's strike, really. Um, so I think season 2 is supposed to be coming out maybe next year, maybe Q1 or 2 of 25. Um, but I'm also would like to get back into reading books, right? And I was like, if I'm going to get hooked on a fiction book, because I read a lot of nonfiction, right? Like I read like I'm just looking at the shelf over there. Like there's a lot of shit like like Rob Wolf, Gabor Mate stuff, like Peter Attia, right? I've read some of his books. Um, Jonathan Haidt, Jocko Willink, right? Like I read a lot. Read mostly nonfiction. Um, and I kind of would like to get into something that I get like hooked on, right? Like if it's fiction, you're just like, oh man, I can't put the book down, right? The suspense of it. And I was like, I remember when I listened to the Terminal List, like I was hooked, right? Like I was listening to that audiobook. I think I finished it in like 2 days, right? And it's like a 18-hour audiobook or something. Whatever. That might be excessive, but it was long. And I think I finished it in 2 days. Um, at the point too where I'm like listening to the book and like my heart is racing and shit like that. Like it's just I loved the book. Um, so I rewatched the series and I forgot how good it was, right? Like I knew it was good, right? Like I remember like really liking it, but it is phenomenal. I said it to Amy the other day, but I was like, I think this this series in my opinion, is Chris Pratt's best acting work that he's ever done. Like performance wise, I think it's the best product that he's put out there. Um, and he has done some good stuff, right? And it's kind of like you go back and forth, right? Because obviously he was Andy Dwyer in Parks and Rec, but like that he was hilarious and he was an incredible part of the show. But it's not really a serious role. He's just like the comic relief. He did it very well, right? Kind of the same in Guardians of the Galaxy. All really really good things. Like I watched the Tomorrow War with him in it. Um, obviously he does a lot of voice acting, which is just different, right? Like it's not a performance. You're just recording your voice. Um, but I think this is Chris Pratt's best work. Like just playing, you know, uh, uh, a Navy SEAL, right? That's got some sort of weird, like mental, PTSD stuff going on without giving too much away. There's other reasons why things are happening, but like he just crushes it. Um, so yeah, I'm like halfway through the season already again. And once I finish, I'm gonna start like actually physically reading the second book. So hopefully I'll get sucked into that and actually start reading more instead of scrolling on Instagram because that's dumb. I've like you said, was that yesterday? I think it
Yeah.
was when you were like, yeah, I'm all set with people, right? Like I'm all done, like talking to
Yeah,
people, dealing with people.
I was good with social media yesterday.
Yeah, like I've noticed myself more and more um just kind of like not wanting to be on any of that shit, right? It's like now like when I go on Twitter, like I've been seeking out things for like football, right? And like fantasy football and stuff like that. And if there's like, oh, we're about to go to World War III, I just immediately like I'll mute it. I'll do it like I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't care. Right. Like I'm all set with the whole stock market crashing, World War III. Like I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about your opinion on it, right? Not you particular. I mean, this is like the royal you,
Oh,
right? Um,
I I started muting words again
yeah. Yeah,
because I barely check the Sarcasm Speaks account. I mean, I check it, but like periodically.
right.
Uh, so on my lists or my muted words, Biden, Kamala, Trump, Israel, Palestine, and Amain Khalef. That's like the fucking Algerian boxer or whatever.
Yeah.
That was a quick trigger on that one too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw like 3 posts and I go, nope,
Yeah. Nope. All set there.
all
Um,
good. I read one story about what was going on. And I'm like, nope, no one's smart enough to fucking figure this one out. So I'll just block it.
yep.
Yeah, so I pretty
Blocked.
much just see what the snob's up to, and then it's back to learning Italian, I guess.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I fill my day more now with just listening to all other like random podcasts, right? It's funny because now every week when my iPhone gives me my like weekly screen time report, the last 2 weeks it's been super down because work has been super busy. So I haven't really had time to like sit around on my phone. Um, like I'll look at my phone at like 12:30, like when I go to eat lunch, and my Instagram, the little bubble has like 8 bubbles on it. And it's like 8 different people have sent me messages. And it's like I got like 6 messages from Jones. I got like 3 things from Amy. I got 2 things from Vinny. I got another thing from my buddy Merritt, like up in New Hampshire. Like it's just like I'm almost like, and it's all starting from like 6:30 in the morning and on. And I'm like, now I don't want to look at any of these because now I'm just overwhelmed, right? Um, but yeah, it's funny because like my screen time, they count like podcasts and shit. So like 90% of my screen time now over the last 2 weeks is just listening to podcasts, right? Like my actual like Twitter and Instagram hours are like way down. Um, because yeah, I'm getting kind of sick of it, right? Like I said this to our group text the other day. Like I think I think this is a yearly thing. I don't know what it is, or maybe I don't know. Maybe the time is a flat circle, right? And I'm just blending the last time we had an election because we were still doing the podcast. And I just keep finding myself saying over and over again, like, just get me to football season. Like, just let football start so I don't have to listen to all this other shit. Like I would much rather, as infuriating as it makes me to listen to people talk about how the Patriots are going to trade for Brandon Ayuk, which they're not, by the way. I would much rather deal with that than Kamala is doing this and Trump is doing that and this Project 2025 and Bibi Netanyahu and all this other stuff, Khalif Imani and I just I've had enough. I've had enough. I just want to watch football. That's it. I only want to care about football. I don't want to care about any of this other stupid shit.
Even football, I think I'm okay with. Because even yesterday, Keon White's playing fullback. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, yeah.
The guy's a
Well,
D end,
yeah,
and he
and
barely played last year.
I do get that, right. And like 3 episodes ago, I said I'm all set with the training camp talk.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
like, but that's the thing is
wouldn't
like I'm
wouldn't you know that
completely
training
narcissistic
camp talk, as
happening
much
right
as I
now.
was all set with that, I am way more all set with all the other bullshit
Oh yeah, well
on
the other shit's fucking crazy.
yeah, yeah.
But like, hey, even Thursday, just wait for it
Oh
because
yeah.
Drake
Yeah.
May's probably gonna play. And if
Yep.
he sucks, it's like, oh my God, the guy sucks. And if he's
Yeah.
great, it's like, he's playing backups.
Right.
There you go. I just broke down his first game for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Yep. That's accurate. So, yeah, go watch The Terminal List on Amazon Prime. Not a sponsor of the show,
And
but
sorry. Is there a translation in Italian for that or
yeah, you could probably put Italian subtitles on.
nah, see that doesn't work. I need to listen. I can read.
Dub it in Italian. I'm sure it's Amazon. I'm sure there's some sort of AI program they can do that. Yeah. All right. Well, that is going to do it for us. So thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe up above, hit the thumbs up down below. You get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. Twitter is sarcasm_speaks. Facebook is Sarcasm Speaks. Website is sarcasmspeaks.com. Check out the show notes below. Support those sponsors. Click the links. Get some cool products at discounts. Support them. Support us. And yeah, until next time, good night, everybody.